Hey, okay, so I'm gonna do a quick video on different note-taking applications, and what's really funny is anything with an API, right? Like, so anything that has an API, generally I've found that Kimi can talk to it, right? Or OpenClaw. So I have like three different note-taking applications that I use. I have Flatnotes, which is something I did a video on a while back. Then I have Jotty that I like this one the best as far as functionality, but the problem that I was having with Jotty was that I don't know, there I did some videos a while back. I think I forget which one, but when I put code or like a Docker command inside here, there was some hidden characters because the problem is it formats it, like it beautifies it, and then it doesn't work out right. So I'm trying to be careful not to click around because I don't want to like show my bits. But yeah, I have flat notes that I did a long time ago. Then I have Jotty, and then I have Trilium. And I kind of like Trilium the best because it has like a code selection where you can set the content as a note type as code, and then it doesn't add any characters or anything weird, right? I mean, I don't think you can run code in it, but this one is kind of the one that I've settled on that I kind of like. I mean, it's not as smooth and clean as this one, but it gets the job done. And I have, as you see, I have tons of notes, right? Everything that I do, I kind of keep notes on because I don't want to have to hunt for the stuff later. And I use it. I use notes all the time, right? And so I was like, man, it would be nice if Kimi or OpenClaw could just write notes for me. And plus, like one of the things um, is that like whenever I do like one of the GitHub projects or whatever, the README, I have to like have her push it so I can look at it. I mean, otherwise I gotta go use Nano and go look at it. But it would be, I was like, man, it would be so much easier if it just wrote to a notes program. And and I and first I found that the Trillium had an API key, and then I asked it, does Flatnotes have an API? Does it have an API key? It's like, and Kimmy's like, yes. And I said, oh, does Jotty have an API key? And it's like, yes. And I was like, oh shoot. I was like, I didn't. I mean, that might change my perspective on whether I like Trillium better or Notes. Now, Flatnotes is just like super simple, right? So I want to create a new note. I can call it a demo, and then I could say, oops, this is a demo, and then I save it, and then I can go to like all notes, and like I can search for something, and it found that note with, it searched the title and inside the note. So I mean, it's pretty good for just like basic notes, right? But the kind of notes that I have, so I have like I try and categorize them. So I have like home stuff, like contacts, private stuff, then I have prompts, then I have tech, which is usually my largest, my largest one. Sorry, I was just scanning, making sure I wasn't showing anything private. Um, but I do like Jotty because it has like a checklist, right? So I add things to the checklist, and occasionally I'll mark them off when I get things done. But since I've been transitioning to Trillium notes, I haven't really been using it that much. But so just to go ahead and get into this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to install one of these, and basically they'd all be very similar. So I already installed Trillium, and it works okay. It writes to it. The formatting looks a little weird. You have to tell it to use HTML. But in this case, I'm going to do a new Jotty for the first time, and connect an API. So the reason I'm making new ones is because these have my personal information in it. I don't want to say what, but it has personal bits in it that I don't want Kimmy to have access to. So what I'm going to do is oh, and I did want to say one thing too. Well, two things, right? One's kind of funny. The other's just if you have a home lab or want to have a home lab, you know, I get questions about home lab stuff and everything. You really, really, really should use Proxmox. Like if you have an old computer in your closet, I mean, you should use Proxmox. It's just, ever since I started using it probably like 10 years ago, there was a brief period where I moved away from it, but Proxmox is just fantastic. Like there's a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get past that, you can do anything and everything, right? Like I even run Comfy UI in it, right? Like I don't have it on right now because I adjusted my GPU setup, but I mean it's just I mean, so here's an example that I'm about to walk through, right? So if I go to the helper scripts, these are all the different helper scripts that you can use. So if I want to install an operating system, it's a one click. If I want to install, you know, firewall, blah, 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 recovery, all the databases, like this is where I got Quadrant. This is where I got Redis. I mean, all of these are one clicks, right? So if I want it, so in this video, I'm going to install a notes application. So I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna get Jotty. So all I have to do is click. Now, if you're doing this a different way, you know, I'll put some links to the GitHub page or whatever, because you can install it like in Docker or something like that. In this demo, I'm gonna just install it what I would consider the best way. So I just copied that string, and now I'm going to come in here to the host, and I have Mini too, Mini's Forum MSO1. I have two of them, so I have Mini, which is the one I use, and then I have Mini 2. I'm going to paste it in here, and then I'm just going to hit enter. And just for the sake of the demo, because I'm going to delete this later, I'm just going to say default install, and boom, it's doing its thing. I got to pick where to store that. And once it's done, I'll have Jotty. Like this is the most fantastic thing, you know, I guess second to Kimi. This is just like, I mean, all these different things. And I've gotten to where I'm like, if I want something, I'm like, does it have an API? Does it have an API? Because if it has an API, then Kimi can talk to it, right? So, oh, it has an update for the stack for Proxmox. I'm probably not gonna do that, but normally it would just go through faster. I think there's an update that I need to get, so it's kind of getting a little stuck for some reason. But basically what these scripts are, just to kind of give you an idea, is they're installs of like Debian generally, right? And then it just has the app running on a slimmed down version of Debian is the majority of them. You can get some of them with Alpine, which is a smaller Linux. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna stop the video for a second, and just because I don't want to like wait for whatever it's doing. Okay, I don't know. I pressed enter and then it continued, but it seemed to have got stuck right there. I probably should have done the verbose mode so I could. I think it asked me a question. So, but so now it's installed it and now it's right there. And if you do, the reason I don't do default generally is because I like to pick a number so I could put it at a particular place. So it's installing it right there. It's updating the container OS. So while it's doing that, for the note app Jotty, how do so generally I'm this is how I do installing things like this all the time. I basically do like an interactive install with good grief. It's always something. Okay. So anyways, let me see how this is. Okay, so there it is. So now there's Jotty. So username, demo. I had to clip a part of the video because for whatever reason when I clicked password, it showed you a password that it had stored. So yeah, so don't do that. So anyways, here's Jotty. And so let me see what Kimi said. Good grief. Settings, API, developer integrations. So let me get rid of mine so I don't jack mine up. Let's see. So settings. API key. Huh. It is right there. That's funny. So then I put IP and port 3000. So that's it, right? So I can tell it to call it notes, and that's usually what I do. I'm not gonna have her have access to like all three. I mean, I may try all three, but that's pretty much it. So now let's give it a test. So go back to the home page. So this has checklist and notes. So I'm going to test the checklist now. So well, first, so this is one of my practices, right? So please search the web for API details. So I have another collection called Kimi _ KB, which is like a knowledge base. So aside from the memories, I have a knowledge base because whenever I do a web search or upload documents or whatever, I use a knowledge base because I don't want to mix all my web scraping and web searching and documents in with memory, right? I like to keep things kind of separated. So usually when I do this, I say, please do a web search for API details and save them in the knowledge base, right? So basically she'll go out and get all the details for working with the API. And then if she doesn't know how to do something, I'll just say, look in the knowledge base, right? And then she'll be like, oh, I get it. So while she's doing all that, I'm just going to say, please add to my checklist okay, so one thing I do sometimes that like, so if I hit enter, it cues my question or whatever, so that whenever she's done thinking, it'll send it. I guess I guess the OpenClaw has the OpenClaw API seems to have a one-track mind. So while that's going on, there was one thing I'm curious about, right? So YouTube, it's more of a gripe, right? But these videos with the O faces, right? Like I'm not going to point out any, and the AI generated. I mean, I like some of these folks, but I just can't. Like, does it make you want to click on? Like, I intentionally don't click on videos where they make a ridiculous face, right? Like, I mean, it's like, I mean, it's not always an O face. Like, I like Network Chuck, but the faces, it's like, you know, I don't even put a face because I'm thinking like this is more for like educational information. It's like, and just to go back to the gist of my channel, like I just do things, I do these projects on my own, and you know, I just want a place to talk about them and share them with people so that if you like something that I do, then you can do it too. Okay, so look, so here, so she made something on my to-do list, and then I can check it off, or I can uncheck it. Okay, so then I'll just test the notes, and then I'll end the video. But, so let's see, so, and copy. Man, I really, as soon as I turn on the recording, I can't spell or type anymore. Create a note and copy the true recall base readme to it. So I kind of like this. I may go back to using, Jotty over the other one, because this one is what I was kind of transitioning to, but I may just try and find a workaround for like code stuff. But so we'll see when she does this, then I'll just be done with this. I'll be done talking. But I just want to make a quick video on, like, this is basically my steps. Like everything I just did is how I install like anything with an API, right? So all I do is just go through, and like I said, so they're done. Okay. And you see, this is the entire session of everything that I did. So now if I go to Jotty and I go to notes, there it is. Okay. I like this better. She can write better. Like, so Trilium notes, it doesn't look pretty like this. So I'm thinking that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Jotty for all my tech related. Actually, I think I'm just going to have two note apps. One is like personal that I won't connect her to. And then I'm just going to have this one as, I'll have to move it because I put it on my temp Proxmox server. But I mean, that's pretty slick. Like, so basically anything that so like the problem I was having is that she would do these things and I'm like, well, I want to read it in like I don't want to read it in nano. I want to read it like on a page. So I'd have to push it just so I could like skim through it and have her correct any errors and stuff. But this way, I like this. Like, and again, this is my first experience with it too. But like I said, this is basically the steps that I go through, right? So every time I'm installing something that has an API, I usually always pull all the API details to the knowledge base, and then I tell her to do stuff, and then I'll say something like, I'm not going to do it now, but I'll say like save to memory. What is it called? So save to memory Jotty equals notes. So if I say take a note, like I'll basically define and have her store it in context memory, like in her Soul MD or something. So same way that Q is in there. So if I say save Q, or if I say search Q, it searches her memory. She just knows that Q equals quadrant memories. But if I say save a note, so I'll basically give myself shortcuts, right? I'll say notes is the notes in Jotty, and I'll say, what's the other thing? The checklist. If I can say add something to my checklist, like I really like this, right? This is very handy because, like when I use Telegram, so I plan on doing another video where I have the voice in and out on Telegram. Well, I have a whole list of videos that I intend to do, but I could never have time to do them, especially because I got wrapped up around that memory thing, which I'm still working on, by the way. So anyways, that's basically how you do it, right? And I actually prefer this one now over the other two. So the only thing I have, just be aware, if you're putting like run commands for Docker in here, I had a heck of a time finding an invisible character that was in it, and whenever I'd put it in the console, it wouldn't run properly. And then whenever and I had to like, I couldn't figure it out. I ended up putting it in here, and I think that Kimi figured it out. I don't know. I even pasted it into like text pad, or like notepad, just to try and clean it up. But for whatever reason, I had to retype the whole run command in text and then paste it in there. And then it ran, and it was in the middle of a video, no less, because that's where things always go wrong. But I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions, like these all can be installed with Docker also, right? So if you go to, I'll try and get all their what is it? Oh my gosh, their pages, their, dadgummit.